Hello,
We just
everyone.
started with us laughing, I guess. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Three Strangers podcast. I'm Ryan.
I'm Bill.
Ooh, I'm Nick.
And as you can tell, it's been one of those nights.
Yep.
The giggles are just here with all of us.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Oh shit.
we're just all
Yeah.
giggling tonight.
We're in for a night.
We're here with Skippy, our engineer. You know, he does the audio. He streams Assassin's Creed. He might stream Call of Duty, Cold War. I don't know. That's up to
I will
him.
be there. I will be there.
I just bought it, and I will say I'm having a lot of fun on it. Although I don't like that people can make their name certain things because someone made their name Rosa Parks. And
Oh my god.
let's just say it was really weird calling out who we were killing in the game. Yeah. Even
What?
yeah.
This took a turn.
Yeah, we took a
What's your
really-
gamer tag? What's your
I mean,
gamer tag, Ryan?
My gamer tag's just I the Bacon.
That's
I was part of a clan, the clan, and it was like you chose breakfast foods.
Either.
Shout
Okay.
out to John, Angie, both in the clan. My boy Chris, he's in the clan. Sorry, I had to call them out quick.
Sorry.
What about you,
clan.
Bill? Your clan / gamer tag.
Listen. I've gone through many names
Mhm.
in the past. I think I remember I had one on Xbox for a really long time called Meteor Man, and then people would make fun of me because it sounds like Meat Eater Man. So I had to abandon
First thing I thought of when you said
it. So
that. Wow, gaming is toxic.
a lot of trauma. How about you, Nick?
I'm boring. I've never had an interesting screen name. I've always used my last name, as you're not supposed to, but I've always used my last name in my screen name. So
Really?
yeah.
Well, I use my last name on Discord, sort of.
Well, okay, that's Discord though.
Yeah.
That's true, yeah.
It's
Oh,
funny, though.
People
okay.
add you on Discord, you know.
Yeah, that's true. It's
It's
just like
funny, though.
Yeah.
So for me, the name before I the Bacon
what was your name?
was Surfing Bird 123.
Oh my god.
Wait. Why?
Because of the song.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, sorry. I haven't heard that in a really long time.
Shall we play
It was
it?
such a bad name. It got switched after like a month.
Oh man.
That's it, yeah.
It's so weird thinking about all of this, like how like we're in college now, and like with Xbox, I feel like I have so many memories of playing it in like in middle school and high school, those toxic Call of Duty lobbies where everyone basically smashed your mom. Like
Modern Warfare.
Modern Warfare
Modern
2.
Warfare.
Mhm.
That was
the best Call of
for
Duty.
me.
I will always say Modern Warfare 2 is the best Call of Duty.
And the worst lobbies. So
Yeah. Very toxic. Very
Yeah,
very
yeah.
toxic.
Mhm.
But
Yeah.
it's nice looking back at our childhood. Well, I guess our teenage years more so than childhood. Childhood was like, you know, Bugs Bunny and probably
Yeah.
SpongeBob.
Bugs Bunny. Yeah, it was. It was funny. That was the first thing.
I used to really like Thomas the Tank Engine. That was my show.
Why?
What do you mean why? That was a freaking train.
This is you know, it's funny you speak of Thomas the Train Engine because this is totally derailed.
Yeah. What are we talking about?
So speaking about teenage years.
Yeah,
What's the topic over there?
teenage years. Wow. I mean, Thomas the Tank Engine. Okay, we're speaking about childhood horror movies and like stuff we remember from our
Okay.
childhood. I feel like
Oh,
Thomas could have
brother.
scared a few kids. I mean, his
Yeah,
face
Thomas
is kind of terrifying.
Yeah, his upset face.
Yeah.
Wow, that was
Okay.
really good. It's like I'm picturing it in my head.
Yeah, Nick,
All
you
right.
could have been
Okay,
Thomas the Tank
wait.
Engine.
Usually I don't do this. I usually don't butt in on the podcast, but I gotta say something about this Thomas the Tank Engine thing.
Oh, I want to hear it. Was it?
All right.
Okay.
When I was younger, I loved Thomas the Tank Engine. That was my shit. But
My boy. Oh.
but on there's this, I don't know if it's a meme, I don't know what you would call it. It's on Instagram, and it starts out as just Thomas the Tank Engine in like a really dimly lit setting, and then hit like the face part, just the gray face part, comes out like a giant like worm, and it just like it sounds like wet and it disgust like you know what wet mouth noises sound like the like that.
Okay,
That's what
yeah.
it's so gross and graphic. I hate it so much. So yes, Thomas the Tank Engine is scary, and that is my 2 cents for the night. I'll see you guys.
He was gonna say about the video of Biggie rapping over the Thomas the Tank Engine intro, but we went completely different direction.
That's not it.
I think we have sufficiently concluded. Thomas the Tank Engine is really fucking scary, Ryan.
Yeah.
Good job.
Yeah.
Go full circle.
Yeah.
I told you that I'm good at transitioning.
Yeah.
But
I never
okay,
doubted.
childhood scary movies. It's
Mhm.
funny because it's one of those things where it's like you feel like your parents try to hide it from you so you didn't get scared, or your parents are like, you're gonna watch this with me and I'm gonna scare you.
Yes.
You know, there's no in
Yeah.
between. I gotta ask, with your parents, did you have either one of those parents, or was it like a no horror in my house, in my Christian house?
Oh man. I have dichotomies in my house. My mom was very anti-horror. My dad had horror from like the 70s and 80s that he really loved, and he would show me a little bit, but I was never allowed up until I think like age like 11, 12, allowed to watch horror movies on my own. I had a PS2, and I remember it was child locked. You ever have that happen to you? Like your PS2 that can play DVDs, and it'd be like, this is an R-rated movie, you can't watch it. I'm not
Wait, I
joking,
gotta
by the
ask,
way.
did you try to put in a
transparent.
rated R movie and that's how you found that out?
Yes.
Which one?
Yes.
Which movie?
It was. Oh gosh, I'm trying to think about it. Oh,
It was
yeah,
Borat.
it was. Yeah, it was distinctly. I want to say non-horror. It was like, yeah, it was one of those. It was like, I want to say it was like The Hangover or something
Yeah,
like that.
okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, fair.
and I remember, yeah, it was just like, no, you can only play PG and lower.
Damn.
G and PG.
13.
So I watched a shit ton of like Madagascar and fucking Monsters Inc. That was some good stuff.
What about you, Nick?
So my parents, they just weren't horror movie people, but all my love for a lot of my love for horror really begins with my older sister. She's the one that kind of made me a fan when I was younger. Because it's one of the experiences that I had that I'll talk about later. But I know with one of these movies, when it came out on DVD, we made my mom watch this movie because of how scared my sister and I were when we first went to go see it in theaters. So shout out to my sister Becca, because she really started my love for horror movies. Absolutely.
So for me, my parents, they're not horror people, although like when they were like going on dates with each other, you know, it was like, oh, let's go see a horror movie, because like that's the date movies that you would go see, you know. But
Naturally.
my dad has this really, really big fear of ghosts. Like he is terrified of them. Like he always says he doesn't want anything entering his body. And there's you can take that as you want to.
Listen,
I mean, I guess the
Listen,
real horror is right there, but
just to tell your dad
emphasis
that.
on but I really want to watch Sinister with him. Like,
Oh, shit.
that's a movie I really want to watch with him. Like,
Well,
to me, that is one of the scariest horror movies.
Yeah, well, why don't we talk about it? Was that
Let's
childhood?
talk about Sinister. Sinister, great movie. I think it's actually like the third review I did on the channel was Sinister.
Yeah,
You know,
it was early.
fantastic movie, great acting. I mean, so much to say about it. Bill, I think you're writing stuff in, so let's hear. What are you looking up?
No, I'm just like looking up some like info on it. I've seen it. I think I last saw it in like 2015. It was one of those high school things. What's it? I remember really liking it. I remember it almost being like not like too scary to watch, but like I really had to like, ooh, like, you know, I'm not usually that guy. I'm not usually like, ooh, you know, like kind of guy. Something set me off though. I'm trying to remember what specifically about Sinister set me off. It was something I really did not like. The design of the like I think it's like a good design of the thing. I'm trying to remember what is the name of the Sinister.
There
Mr.
is no.
Boogie.
It's it's
Mr.
the Boogeyman, but they don't call him.
The Bye Bye Man. No,
No, oh my god, don't ever bring up the Bye Bye Man.
I'm so sorry, Ryan. I didn't mean to trigger you.
But while you look up that, I'm just gonna say, you know, for those who don't know, Sinister was released in 2012, directed by Scott Derrickson, stars Ethan Hawke, Juliet Rylance, James Ranson, and Fred Thompson, and it's about a crime writer, Ellison Oswald, who finds a box of tapes in his new home, and basically it's him watching these tapes and kind of uncovering what's happening. So,
Yeah. Watching these tapes and going through photos, which it's the element of Sinister that is unique. They use photos to scare, and I think that's something that was, you know, you don't see that a lot. You still don't see it a lot in movies where they take these still images and they have ways of making them scarier than just being what they are. And I'm being vague.
Yeah,
I mean, on
like
purpose.
I love what they do with these pictures and like how they portray them and how like they'll just be scenes where like he'll print something in this still image and it's really really creepy and just like
Yeah.
put it up against his wall. But I will say I don't like the corniness of making still images move. I don't think that
Neither do
here. I
I.
think it's really stupid and not very scary because like it's one of those things where they want to go like, oh my god, he's moving, you know. But
So,
I don't know. I really don't like that.
I think one of my favorite gags is when it starts to move, and then they look at it and it doesn't move anymore, and they're like, "Ooh," like, you know. I don't know. It's weird because it's like it's not like it's kind of unprecedented. I don't think any other movie I've seen like does that. I mean, there's been a million and one like, you know, found footage, but found
Yeah.
photographs, I don't know. I don't know about that.
Yeah. See, I disagree with you guys. Like,
Really?
it got me. That was one of the most. That was one of the many points that stick out in the movie for me because, I just because it hadn't been done before. I didn't think they were going to. You know, I thought what would be it'd be like, oh, 1 minute he's in the photo, 1 minute he's not. Like that's the cliche.
I was just saying, I know that cliche too. Like that's
Yeah,
definitely a
'cause
cliche.
that
Yeah.
has been done before. So it really diverts your expectations, which this movie is great at. And which is why I agree with you, Ryan. It's one of the scariest movies, if not the scariest movie that I've ever experienced.
I know Skippy has said that he found an article and I actually read it and like scientifically it is the scariest horror movie in terms of like I think it was heartbeat per minute.
Yes.
I
Yeah,
think it was that.
I know the article, yeah, you referred to. They did a series, I think, of like 50, I think, movies, and they heart monitored their watchers and tracked how what their patterns of their heartbeat were and what the average heartbeat was. And I think something that like is interesting to point out is they also tracked when in the movie their heart rate fluctuated. And the climax of this movie is one of the scariest climaxes ever. I mean, I remember being in the climax. I have a very specific memory of the first time I watched this with My friend Dylan and I, it was one of the first horror movies we had watched together. We were both sitting in bed, separate beds.
I was gonna say you're talking about climaxes
Kissing.
and watching movies together.
So anyway,
Yeah.
we're in like beds across in the room, and I look over, and we both have our blankets up to our faces,
Wow.
getting wet, and we were freshman year of college. Freshman year of college was like 1 a.m., maybe 1:30 by the climax of the movie, and we were screaming. Like thank God it was a weekend because we were screaming. I'd sent a Snapchat to who would become my current girlfriend. I don't think we were even dating, and I was like I was so scared. My entire face was white. It was absolutely crazy. I don't know, what was your experience, Ryan, the last first time you saw it?
So when I saw it, oh man, I think I was in high school, my senior year of high school, and I remember I was watching it with my boys Tommy, Storm, Tim, Christian. I think Angie was also watching with us. Shout out to all of you guys. And I just remember I can't remember which jump scare it was, and I don't want to spoil it. So I'll
Mm-hmm.
just say it's something upstairs with kids.
Yeah. Okay. Yep.
That one, and I was sitting between Storm and Tommy, and at that part, they both jumped and swung their hands back at the same time, and both hit me right in my titties. Because it was like one of those things where like you had to like hold back like this, and they both did it at the same time, and I was in the middle of them.
Oh my God.
And like that's always stuck with me because like these are like, I mean, we were in high school, of course, like seniors, but it's like these were grown like men, you know, like just
Yeah.
jumping. Like
Oh my
it
gosh. Yeah.
is genuinely a terrifying movie, and has such a like unguessable conclusion. It really diverts your expectations, and I've watched it with so many people, and no one has ever guessed how it ends. And I've watched it with over like 20, 30 people. No one has ever guessed what happens.
It's really strength of this narrative structure. The last time I saw it was in 2015, and I remember my friend had this place above her garage that was like this big like lounge area, right?
Mhm.
And we were effectively like on this couch, like 15 feet away from the TV, and it still felt unbelievably like I don't know something about it. I'm not surprised to hear that it's like scientifically like crafted, you know, with like the good elements of like thing. I wonder if they did research into what, you know, makes unsettling, you know, like a horror movie to so many people. It's
Mhm.
interesting to think about, you know.
It's just crafted so great. I mean, you look at the characters, the acting is fantastic, but also like our main character, you really feel for him. You feel his struggle. It's everything is very believable, and I think what makes it so great is it's plotted within realism. Everything about it feels so realistic. I mean, the deaths in it, like these images, like it never felt like, oh, this is a little bit too fake. At least for me, I think there
Yeah.
you could be like, oh, like this, you know, the odds of this, but like of course the odds of it, it's a horror movie, so of course there's going to be a little bit of, you know, an
Mhm.
element of like being fake to it, but they do a great job of painting over it.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Like the fantasy, it's essentially a fantasy element of it. You know, it's the boogeyman. Like that's who the villain is. But then the boogeyman is such a youthful thing. You know,
Mhm.
it similar to like, you know, the Tooth Fairy or whatever. Like that becoming evil, and to this, it's like no, it's so the stuff in it. Yeah, you've put in more eloquently the realism within it, that and the created logic because of it. It fits really well.
Yeah.
Um, the ending is something it's to me the ending was lackluster. It was the only
Tropic.
maybe my only gripe.
Is it the ending of after like kind of everything happens and then it's like that last shot?
Well, okay. So yes,
Okay.
but it's also the events of the and there's also the events of the scene. It's true. It's unexpected. Maybe borderline. It almost borderline doesn't. It almost borderline doesn't make sense, but it does. It absolutely does. But I think wish there was a tiny bit more hint that it was happening. But it could be argued that because of that mysteriousness, it's what makes it more scary.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah, I definitely see that. Like, I know for me, that final like sequence where all of that is happening, it's so shocking, and I think because there's that little bit where we really don't know a lot still, and then when it happens and it just all comes together because that really was the one missing thing, and it just like the shock element of it is so insane, and like watching everything happen. It's so hard saying this without spoiling anything.
Yeah, I
yeah,
know.
yeah, it is. It really is.
But
I really wanna
so
say
of course we're
but
gonna
yeah.
recommend this movie, but I do want to
yeah.
talk since we're talking about like how this horror element revolves around revolves kind of around children.
It does. Yeah. That's a fair.
Let's
Yeah, of course.
That's fair.
let's go to our personal experiences as children, and I'm gonna ask, what is the first horror movie that you remember watching / scaring you? We're gonna start with Nick.
Let's just sit here.
I mean, so there's two. One was a kind of a lackluster horror movie in the grand scheme of things. And the other one was genuinely impactful for me. I would say the first one, the most genuine one was, Paranormal Activity.
Oh shit! You stole mine. No, I was kidding.
Oh,
Just keep going.
oh, did I?
No,
Oh
you
my God.
didn't.
Oh,
No, you
okay.
didn't. No, that was one of them. That's one of them.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cause shout out to my sister Becca again. I went with her and a couple of her friends, and first of all, it was like the first time me being like a part of an older crowd and like going out and doing something like this. And it was my first horror movie. I feel like I just hit an age where I was really interested in this, or like really interested in experiencing this, but because I didn't have my parents, they weren't on a lot in my house, and just my sister would rave about some of the ones that she had watched, like The Ring and Scream. And so I went with them, and I just remember so much. I remembered so much of that movie, and it was just like kind of scarred into me. And I remember freaking out. If you guys remember, the trailers for that movie involved it was the post-release trailers of that movie involved filming the audience's reaction to the movie because of how scary they were saying it was. So there was a lot of hype, and the found footage genre was just getting started. Obviously, the Blair Witch Project was out, and was successful.
And Wreck.
And Wreck.
Oh, so much to say about Blair Witch. I've never seen Wreck. Sorry, Ryan.
You need to
I'll
watch
have to see
Wreck.
Wreck.
I wish we
Yeah.
could
I know
watch
I do.
it, but
Yeah.
No, it's okay. I'll catch it.
listen, this winter break, we're watching it.
It's good.
Big bet.
Yeah. So
Sorry.
found footage was unique, relatively still unique, and I watched it, and that was the movie where once it came on DVD, we made my mom watch it because my sister and I were so freaked out. And we grew up in kind of a low-key haunted house. We had somebody bless our home, and they told us that there were 2 or 3 energies in our house. One of them was the energy of a young boy who hung out at the end of my bed and played with the computer, which I had confirmed because there were nights where the computer had turned on when it was completely shut down. So the aspect of like this shit going down in a house and
Mhm.
having it be like home filmed really just really did it for me. I don't know I don't know if you guys had, Bill, what were you gonna say about Paranormal Activity?
So, Nick, I'm sorry to hear about your gamer ghost in your room. First of all, I wonder what kind of gamer score you racked up. Like, did he play League competitively?
No,
Sorry.
obviously addictinggames.com. I mean,
Oh yeah, well you were like it was like what did Paranormal Activity like 2010 or something like that? Yeah,
oh yeah, something.
something
Yeah,
like that.
2009, 2010, somewhere in between there.
I just remember for me the whole thing that always played on my mind, and which they used really effectively, especially in the first Paranormal Activity, is that it's like security cam footage a lot of the time. Right,
Mhm.
or it's like a fixed thing. It's been a while since I've seen the original. Talk about a series that really has been milked to death, unfortunately.
Oh yeah, no.
You
Oh
know,
my god.
Mhm.
gosh, there's like 7 or 8 or something. I think I stopped watching after like 4 or 5.
I
But
I think
Yeah.
there's 6 because I think the marked ones was the last one that came out.
okay,
If I
and that
remember correctly.
was
Or
No,
the
the
Ghost
Ghost
Dimension.
Dimension were in 2015, Paranormal Activity 1 in 2007, Paranormal Activity 2 in 2010, and Paranormal Activity 3, 2011, Paranormal Activity 4, 2012, and then
wow.
2014 was the marked ones, 2015 was the Ghost Dimension. I didn't even see the marked ones. The 4th was the last one that I saw.
I haven't
Yeah,
seen
me
past
too.
the second one.
Oh,
Really?
really? The 3rd one is worth watching because the first 3 are very,
Second
very
one.
connected.
Okay, I was gonna say I know the second
Mhm.
one was connected. I didn't know if the third one was.
Second one is probably, from what I remember, being my favorite.
The second
I
one
think
is, I think the
pretty
second
good.
one is objectively the scariest.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Interestingly,
I'd agree. Well, I mean, I haven't seen the other ones, but I would say between the first and the second one's the scariest. But the
Yeah.
scream from the first one, and I know you guys know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
That scream.
Yeah.
Oh god, I'm getting
Blood
chills just thinking
curdling.
about it.
Like
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
it's
No,
weird though,
no,
because
really.
now it's like popular to hate on Paranormal Activity. Like,
Yeah. Because I mean, like, look, all in all, it's not a great movie, but it was scary.
yeah.
And I think like the longer it takes for you to watch it, the less effective it is. But
Mhm.
when it came out, I experienced it when it came out, and it was my first genuine horror experience. That was what horror was in my mind.
Mhm.
So it was at a very different perspective.
It's interesting. I'm surprised that Paranormal Activity was your first movie. I thought you were gonna say something like on TV that you were just like clicking around and saw like, "Oh, what's this?"
Mhm.
Because that was
Mhm.
the experience for mine.
No,
First
Really?
horror movie.
What was your
what was yours?
So the first horror movie that I like watched, like not the whole thing because I got too scared after the intro scene, was Ghost Ship. Now,
Uh,
Oh, oh, okay. So, are we allowed to spoil this,
oh,
or
I'm
allowed to
spoiling
like
it.
talk about
Of
it?
course, I'm spoiling it.
Okay. I, on your recommendation, watched the opening scene that you're talking about.
Mhm.
That is freaking crazy.
Uh-huh. Right? And
I
like for
can't
like
believe.
a 9-year-old, 10-year-old child watching that and the
I can't
TV,
even imagine.
they showed everything. Like
Surprised.
they didn't censor anything. Cause I ended up watching the whole movie later on because I was like, man, so basically what happens is there's these people on a ship and they're dancing, they're having a party, and something happens to like this metal line and it snaps and just cuts through everybody on
It
the ship.
whips across it.
And like
It's terrifying.
it's
Yeah.
yeah, because like everyone just stands there for a second and then you just like see some body parts fall off. And like there's like a little girl in there. She looks up like at her grandpa and he like looks down and like his head just like plops off. Like
It's the most effective shot of the entire movie.
Yeah. The rest of the
From what I
movie,
can
oh my god, it's so bad because that becomes like a weird ghost movie, like everything you've seen a million times, stupid plot points, all of that. But that opening scene is genuinely like scary, like for at that age. And even if you watch it now, when you think about it, you're like, oh my god, like that's actually kind of like scary to think about. Like, well, if I'm somewhere and then just a line, like at a amusement park, and then just a line just comes up and shoot,
Wow.
feels like
Yeah.
Final Destination in a way.
Oh gosh, Final
yeah.
Destination.
Yeah. Yep.
I have a lot to say about those movies.
So that
but,
was my first experience. What about you, Bill?
Well, the first movie that scared me ever was 2002 Scooby-Doo. I'm not gonna get into that though because that is a lot to unpack. I can't believe how bad Scooby looks. I've like watched it recently, like with my house on like a bit of a retrospective. The CGI aged horribly on everything. It looks terrible. I'm sorry, Mr. Bean. I'm sorry. Geez, so many people that got unfortunately sucked into that movie. What's it? The one band. Oh, geez, which band? Sugar Ray. Sugar Ray was there.
Yep. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah.
And yeah,
Man.
I think the one thing I could say to compliment that movie is that it was very well cast. I think a lot of people have like talked about that in the past. That despite all its flaws, it was pretty well. Wasn't well acted per se, but it was like the people really embodied, like the members of Mystery, especially Shaggy, Matthew Lillard.
Oh yeah.
He was
Yeah.
great. And continues to be. I heard originally Jim Carrey was supposed to be Shaggy. Boo! I heard originally Mike Myers was supposed to be Shaggy.
Oh, that
No,
would be weird. No.
that'd be weird. This crap.
I gotta
I don't
ask
know.
though, what was the part that scared you? Like, was there a specific moment that you remember?
Well, there's the part where Shaggy farts in the suit of armor. That was pretty scary. I don't know if you guys know what I'm talking about. It's a really viscerally terrifying scene. I actually, would we get in trouble if I played the audio clip from that? The sound it makes? We'd probably get in trouble,
I
right?
think we get in trouble.
I think
But
we'd probably get in trouble. That's okay.
if you haven't seen it, watch it.
Yes, please look up
Yeah.
Shaggy suit of armor fart. Watch. Da, da.
Oh, man.
Not good. No, I remember the
Oh,
body
man.
switching was weird. You can really tell, and James Gunn has talked about this. It was supposed to be a much more risque movie. And you could tell, and there was a weird period of time where everybody was trying to take classic stuff and make it risque, like Cat in the Hat. You guys ever seen that?
Yep.
Oh,
I saw
yeah.
it in theaters with my parents.
That's a scary movie too.
Yeah.
The
that
mother of
kinda-
all
yeah.
messes. The mother of all messes, and just Mike Myers looks horrifying.
Mhm.
God, no more live action. Do you guys ever hear about that? That movie, Dr. Seuss's widow said that she would never approve another live action Dr. Seuss adaptation. That's why everything's been cartoon since then. You guys ever hear about that?
Oh, no, I didn't.
I haven't.
Yeah.
Good.
Horrifying.
Yeah.
But in all seriousness, sorry, that was a huge digression.
No,
The
you're good.
first
Don't worry.
movie that I saw that was like a horror movie, I remember watching it with my friends. I went over to his house. We had kind of been planning it for a while. So it was like me and I think 3 other people, including him, and he showed us The Ring. And I know it's sort of like there's something special about that period of time with horror movies because I don't think you could really get it nowadays where people legitimately thought that there was like a cursed energy that went along with certain movies that it's like, oh, if you watch The Ring, you will literally die because you're watching the thing that causes you to die. I'm trying to remember if there was other ones like that. I know that people thought that Blair Witch Project was real.
Mm.
that was actual found footage.
Because they didn't list the actors or anything. So people
Really?
actually thought they went missing, I think it was, and there wasn't computers to look it up. So like I think it was 2 weeks or 3 weeks later, they were like, yeah, guys, like they're okay. They were found, you know.
two or
Yes.
3 weeks later.
Although, so that was I've read about that. That was a plan. They did plan like they wanted to make it look like in the narrative of the movie, like I think it was released that was like 3 survivors from the Blair Forest found, or Blair Witch Forest found.
Mhm.
They are.
Yeah, it was definitely a publicity thing, and you could do that back then. It was easier.
Yeah, yeah, it was. I mean, yeah, this story of the Blair Witch Project and its success is it's like an episode in all of itself. But
That
Yeah,
and
the
I was
ring,
gonna say
anyway,
the
the ring.
Grudge. The Grudge is also one that people thought was cursed.
Yes,
Grudge.
yeah,
I'd love to talk about the Grudge. I'd love to talk about Blair Witch someday. There's some crazy stuff with Blair Witch where like the people weren't really acting; they were just put into situations.
yeah,
I don't know if you guys ever heard
yep,
about that shit.
yeah,
That's bad.
yeah.
By the way,
It was very bad, ethically bad.
Yeah.
ethically bad. Like they were actually lost at points. Anyway,
Yeah.
I digress. Anyway, so the ring. You know, there's like what more is there really say? Like, like it's like if you watch the ring, you're really supposed to die. I remember the imagery in that movie is so strong. And I guess that's really a credit to oh geez, I remember it was originally a Japanese
Ringu.
Yep,
Ringu.
Yeah.
And I've actually heard it's far superior to the movie. Even that movie, which is pretty critically acclaimed. And like of course everybody knows the imagery of like everything associated with
The TV.
yeah, like the TV and like the one that always sticks out to me is the fly near the house. You guys remember that little part of the thing?
Oh yeah.
And then like the weird sea cliffs and I don't know, it's just so of course, and then
Mhm.
of course the famous ring, like the well and everything. Like I assume we can like spoil like some parts of it,
Oh
but
yeah, we could spoil the ring. We could spoil the ring.
yeah, at this point, like it's kind of like crazy. But I didn't realize at that time, and I didn't realize upon rewatching it a few years ago, the the famous ring girl. The famous ring girl doesn't show up until very late in the movie. She's like relatively like
Yeah.
like a third act kind of thing. Like she comes out to kill the guy that tried to beat the tape, right? Is that
Yeah. We tried to get.
right? Tried to like
Mhm.
that was crazy to me. I don't know. I mean, like like the imagery of it was great. I just can't believe that they were able to make it look that good at that time, and it's just so iconic. I don't know if you guys have anything like to add. Like, I feel like I'm kind of rambling about it, but I like it to this day, even if like it's like supposedly nothing most
Yeah.
faithful. But,
I do. I'm gonna let Nick go first though.
I just agree with the Cursed movie. It truly, before I hadn't watched it till college, and in my mind, that was the Cursed movie to watch. And I didn't believe in like it wasn't because of the, oh, you'll watch it, you die. It was more like you're watching a very cursed image, and that to me, like when I think of the frame, oh, this is the phrase, this is a cursed image. It's that movie that is directly associated with things, and that phrase gets tossed around more comically now, but it to me that's where it's rooted.
Yeah, I agree.
Right.
I agree. I was gonna say it with you saying it looks really great. That movie looks fantastic, and then The Ring 2 came out.
I've heard it's terrible. Never seen it.
Oh, so it was directed by the guy who directed the original Ringo,
Right.
and
Strange.
it was like everything was going for it. Like the original actors were still coming back for this one, like. But oh my god, is the story so much worse? They show her too much. You guys, I know you've seen some Marvel movies. In Civil War and in Winter Soldier, the one girl, the blonde girl who's the nurse who Cap hits on sometimes.
Yeah.
She's in
Yeah,
it.
of course.
She's like a girl in the beginning.
Really?
Yeah, it was very strange
That's so
watching it and me being like, who is she? Like, why do I know her so like vividly? But yeah, it's The Ring is definitely one of the most iconic horror movies that everybody knows. Like my parents would talk about it because they saw it. And my mom actually scared my dad once. He was sleeping and she went like over him and put like her hair over like her
Oh,
head and
no.
woke him up.
Oh my god.
Yeah, very, very mean. And I
Oh.
think that was the moment he stopped watching horror movies. But
Wow. Wow.
yeah,
That's so funny.
but
Wow,
I
that's
do want to
crazy.
say, the first time I watched The Ring, I think it was also my senior year of high school because I feel like that was when I started like being like, okay, I could watch these now. I'm 17. I'm a grown man. Like I could watch these movies.
Full grown.
And I just remember that being one of the movies that was like, oh my god, like this actually kind of scared me a little bit. Even it's
Yeah.
still like it's
Yeah.
still a genuinely terrifying movie. And I think it's the fact that we don't see her until like the third act. I think that adds to the horror of it. It's kind of like Hellraiser. Everybody knows Pinhead. He's only in the movie
Sure.
for like 5 minutes.
Yeah.
What? Is
Yeah.
that really true?
Yeah. He only shows up for like
Yeah,
5
it's
minutes.
only in the third. It's only in the last half. Yeah.
Yeah. And even then
Everything else
he's
is
like
just a
there for
jumping.
like a minute talking to one of the girls and then like it's probably even fewer than 5 minutes that he's there. Like it's the other I'm forgetting their names right now. But
Cenobites?
yes.
The god
The
Are they called
Cenobites.
Cenobites, right?
Yeah.
Who are the other
Cenobites.
gods of the whatever?
Yeah. But
Yeah.
I want to go now to the first horror movie that I watched completely. And I can remember it was in
Okay.
7th grade. It was on TV. And it was the remake of The Hills Have Eyes.
Oh
Whoa!
my god.
You saw that in 7th grade?
That
I
is
did. It was on
not a great
TV.
one. That's not a great one
Oh.
to just stumble upon.
Yeah.
That I recently watched it again for the channel since it was on the Wheel of Horror, and like watching it the second time, like I had so much more like hatred and animosity towards it because it's such an upsetting movie to watch.
Oh yeah.
It's
Oh my God.
so upsetting. Like I think it's the fact that they try to paint a lot of characters as like the stereotype of like, oh, this is a woman, so she's going to be a weak character. And I think that's something that I really hate about that movie. The
Yeah.
remake. I will say I haven't seen the original.
You haven't seen
So
the
I-
original.
The 77 Wes Craven? What?
I know it's one of the movies that I have on my list I'm gonna watch very soon. But
Wow.
I know it's crazy, right? I've just like always looked for it and couldn't find it anywhere. And then like
Okay,
when it
yeah.
got suggested, I was like, yes, I could watch the original. And they were like, no, I want you to watch the remake. And just
Oh my
tears
gosh.
went down from my face. But
Oh my gosh.
yeah, I could vividly remember watching it and being like, oh my god. Like seeing the fight, like there's good elements to it. I can't say there's nothing good about it. The shock factor is something that's very good with the movie. And what like the main point of it is that shock factor and stuff like that. But the fight scene, I can't remember any of the characters' names. I tried to get that movie out of my memory. But
Yeah, there's the mutants and everything.
the fight scene is good. The younger sister and the brother, I like those characters. She's like our
Okay.
strong female presence within the oh no, Ruby is our strong female presence. One of the
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes.
she's our strong
Ruby.
female
Yep,
presence.
yep,
I
yep,
will
yep.
say I really like Ruby. They do her dirty in the remake. I heard that she's more involved in the original. In the remake, she's just kind of there in certain scenes
Yeah,
and gets like pushed
That's
away.
true. That's true. Yeah.
Mhm.
So I'm interested to see what they do in the original with her. But yeah, that was the first horror movie that I can remember seeing. And I remember going to school the next day being like, guess what I saw.
Be the coolest kid on the playground.
Damn. Yeah.
I'm trying to remember. I don't think I remember liking the 1977 Hills Have Eyes.
Really?
It's
So it's I've heard the difference is that in the newer one,
right.
the enemies, I mean the
The mutants.
The
yeah,
cannibals.
the mutants, cannibals, whatever you might call them. Then the new one, they're a lot more smart.
Mhm.
Yes.
And like their tactics, like there's like road strips, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Where they pop the
Walkie
tires.
talkies where they're communicating with each other.
Right, yeah. Where in the 70s one is
Animalistic almost.
yes, the acting. There's a lot of more. I think there should be a lot more focus on the enemies in the original because of how great their acting is. But because of how great their acting is, it's creepy. Bill, you just said animalistic. That's a great way to put it. It's like you're watching these humans deteriorate into another form, and it is crazy watching. It's very similar to like Texas Chainsaw Massacre dinner scene.
That's such a great movie.
Like
Yeah.
I'll go on record, I know this is like a bit of a hot take. Like I'm not the biggest Wes Craven fan out there. I've been told that there's a few of his films I should definitely check out. I've heard Shocker is really good. I've seen like the big ones, obviously, of his. Like I've seen Hills of Us. He directed Last House on the Left, right?
Once you finish saying what you're gonna say, I want to talk about that quickly, but go on.
What like the original Last House on the Left, or there was a
Yes.
remake. There was a remake. Okay,
There
yeah.
was a
the original.
remake. They
Right.
switched a lot in it.
I didn't
Yeah.
see the remake. I saw the original. But I would say that he's innovative. I don't know if any of his ideas have really, really, solidified. Because he's considered like the American master of horror. It's a really big title. I think his ideas are
Yeah.
great. I think that is Nightmare on Elm Street like a great movie? Absolutely. Is it a masterwork of the horror genre? Its ideas are great. I mean, I think Freddy Krueger is a great character. Am I scared by Freddy all the time? No. It depends, I guess, on what you think a horror movie is supposed to do. And I think, now I'm thinking about it, I guess The Hills Have Eyes and also Last House on the Left do that a little better than what came later for him. I digress from that. We can do a whole Wes Craven retrospective sometime. But
So,
what do you
like,
want?
I think I would say I really like Scream by Wes Craven. I
Yes.
think great
Oh
film.
yeah.
Wes
Okay, yeah,
Craven,
sorry.
The New Nightmare, great film.
Okay, I take it all back. I take it all
No,
back.
but like,
Scream is
so
very
like
good.
what I was gonna say
Yeah.
is I think the fact of his first two movies, and I can't speak much about The Hills Have Eyes just since I haven't seen it, but in terms of The Last House on the Left, he definitely went for more shocking, like what our audience is going to be shocked and appalled by, and it just times that by 10. I mean, in The Last House on the Left, you literally see rape scenes like shown on
Yes.
camera. Like they
Yes.
don't shy away. And I just remember watching it, and it's really it's really tough to watch. And the fact that like these rape scenes would happen, and then we just switch to like these bumbling idiot cops just like, oh, we have to get on this truck because our car broke down because we didn't have enough gas, going back to the rape scene. Like he definitely like I don't know how to explain this. Like his earlier work is really disgusting. I guess is like the best word to go with, and exploitive.
Yeah.
Exploitive.
Last House on the Left is an exploitation film.
Yeah.
More than it is a horror film.
And like
I just want to say,
even like when you're watching it and you're seeing like like the payback of these people's crimes for raping them, you're still with this feeling of like this is so like nasty and like disgusting, and it's crazy how like it was banned in England until I think it was 2009, the original Last House on the Left.
Yeah, it was a video nasty. Yeah, totally banned.
And
Yep.
I feel like his work changed through the years. Because with the 70s, it was very exploitive. in the 80s, he still had the little element of exploitive, which slasher kind of came from, but it became a little bit more I'll say more like planned out, I guess, horror, more
Yeah.
strategic of where everything would be placed, with that being like, a Nightmare on Elm Street.
Mhm.
And and then it kind of went back into like the little bit of animalistic with like the people under the stairs, because I think that came after
Shit.
Yeah. Yep.
Nightmare on Elm Street, if
Yeah.
I remember correctly. And then went back into like, oh,
Mhm.
let's make fun of now these horror traditions with Scream, which is how he ended his career.
Scream. I think Scream is probably my favorite of his works. I would have to say. Thinking about it right now.
Have either of you seen They? Wes Craven Presents They?
I haven't.
No,
I've heard
I
of
know
it.
I haven't.
Yeah, I haven't either. Okay, I was just wondering if because I think it was on Hulu for a time, and it was always one of those like I always came back to it, and then decidedly didn't watch it.
Mm,
But now now that it's not there, I always like wondered how because it's it's very staple when when it's his present putting
Mhm.
his name in. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah, like
it
Wes
was
Craven's A New
spotlight.
Nightmare.
Yeah, exactly.
right,
It was a
right.
spotlight for him, and yeah, I'm just wondering how it was. But if anyone in the comments would like to say what they
Yeah.
Yeah,
thought of
no,
They and
we
see if
can
they
watch
recommend it.
it.
Yeah, but like going back to like the whole like childhood like first horror movie kind of thing like that with Hills Have Eyes. Yeah, it's weird because I feel like that should have been one like, okay, you know what? I'm gonna step back from watching horror
Yeah,
because of
yeah,
like, but I
And
think
you went
back then it
full.
was that thing of like, oh my god, I've never seen anything like this before, like,
yeah,
So yeah, that was the
yeah.
first horror movie I watched in its entirety. And then from there, it was like weird phases of like not seeing anything on TV. I remember the Amityville Horror, the original, being on
Oh
TV.
shit.
Watching
Yeah.
that,
Hmm.
but
I don't know.
yeah.
I went through like a weird phase, like when I was like I think like 12 to 15, where I would bounce back and forth between watching like Igmar Bergman. I don't know if how familiar you guys are with his body of work, and I love Igmar Bergman. Actually,
Mhm.
speaking of which, what's it? Last House on the Left is based off of an Ingmar Bergman movie called The Virgin Spring. That's a whole thing to get
Oh.
into. You know, and it's an exploitation film. It's all right. Sorry, Mr. Bergman. Um, but and then I would ping pong back and forth between horror and like I guess like gosh, what would you even call that? Not really experimental, but just like the ideas of like filmmakers such as David Lynch. I guess absurdism, stuff that like everyone isn't what is truly horrifying, like existentialism or like slasher. You know,
Yeah.
I guess that's kind of
Mhm.
like what I'm trying to get at. I don't know. Have you guys ever? I don't know why I'm thinking about this. It's just in the same vein of The Hills Have Eyes for me. Have you guys ever seen Deliverance?
No.
Ever seen
Oh,
Deliverance?
wait a
No.
second.
The
You
original
mean
set
the
with
Yeah,
Rapture
no.
film?
the Rapture film? No. This is the one with the canoers.
Okay, never mind. No,
No, okay.
I'm thinking
Really?
of something else.
I'm surprised you guys have never seen that.
Maybe I have.
I feel like one of you must have, but like
I feel like I have. I'm just
Didn't
not
they come out with the
picturing
remake
it.
of it?
yes, and it was not nearly as good, of
Yeah,
course.
I was gonna say I've seen the remake. I haven't seen the original.
Maybe I have seen the remake then.
Really? What'd you think of the remake? I saw parts. I did not see
Not a
the
fan of it.
not a fan. The original, I remember, it's kind of crazy because there's all the stuff that happens where some gross hillbillies do some questionable act, etc., etc.
Oh yes, yeah.
Yes,
Hmm.
and
Yep.
I remember
That's that movie.
well, me and a few friends watched a censored version, and it would be like on TV, and it was bad because it would be like this stuff would happen. They'd encounter the cannibals, and then it'd be this jump cut to like to the protagonist in the movie looking very distraught and scared. And I was like, oh, I wonder what happened to them. Fast forward, not good, not good. But I
Yeah.
mean, I think it's a good movie. I think if anything, it's really a combination of horror survival. Yeah.
So I think isn't that genre kind of known as like the rape revenge, like the start of that kind of
Yeah.
genre of horror?
Yes.
I gotta say that's my least favorite genre of horror, and I think it's because of the realism of it, like having to watch a lot on screen. Like I Spit on Your Grave, I refuse to watch that movie. Like
Oh yeah.
I don't think I can make
Oh,
it through it. It's too like
Really?
upsetting to watch stuff like that, you know.
No, I can see where that could be like a factor. I would say some like things do it better and like other. It was really popular in the 70s. I don't know why. I don't know. I'm trying to think about like other like movies like I remember from my childhood. I hate dolls and I hate mannequins.
Mhm.
I don't know if I've ever told you guys this story, but I used to be a quite the pianist.
Mm.
On the old ivories. And I remember I was in a room, and it's kind of hard to describe, but I would have this like this mirror, and I'd look up in the mirror while I was playing, and my mother's dolls that she would collect would be staring at me while I was playing, and I used to have to actually physically turn them around to the wall, but then I lived in constant fear that I would look up and they'd be turned around.
Back.
Yeah.
And so then I just had to like be like, Mom, I gotta put these away. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
it's too much for me. I don't know why. Just the uncanny valley really affects me in a really serious way. I don't know. We could devote a whole episode to that.
I
but-
mean, for me, it was clowns. I still have a fear of clowns. Don't like them, and I think it's the fact that my grandparents had a picture of a clown, and my grandpa used to like scare me with it. Like I'd wake up and like the picture of the clown would be over my face, or like I like wake up and then like the clown would be like hanging in the room, and then like I'd fall asleep again and wake up, it's gone. Like so I was very afraid of that, and like this one I wasn't afraid of.
Nice.
Yeah. Thanks, Grandpa.
And the other one was he used to say Chucky. But I was never I never was afraid of Chucky because I think he was too goofy for me. Even at that age, he was a little bit too goofy.
Yeah, same.
Chucky's very
Like when I would think of it, like back then, because I did see a little scene of it. It was The Seed of Chucky, and that movie just full on goofball. Like it's such a bad movie, so bad.
Yeah.
Child's Play is not a good series.
No, well, I mean, I like the first one.
Yeah.
I do like it. I don't think it's a bad movie. The second one I don't think is bad. The third one's terrible. But
Yeah, they go down.
Chucky, clowns. That was my that was my childhood.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it's definitely.
What were you gonna say next?
That's definitely I was never affected by that clowns thing. I guess I didn't experience them. I didn't go to the circus. I didn't have anyone who had a clown. I think I was just very, subjective experience, which, maybe to tie all this up, like, I really think that childhood experience of horror is so subjective, and that becomes there's a question of what becomes our perception of horror initially, and how does that impact us with how our tastes are now?
Good question.
I agree. I mean, it's funny because I love it. I think it's a great movie. But oh my god, it scared me the first time I watched it.
Right, yeah.
The scene with like the in the toilet, like the top part of the toilet where she hits her dad with it.
Oh yeah.
And,
the jump scare.
Yeah, and then she turns around, it's right there. My friend Liz, if you're watching this, I love you, you're great, but you're a hoe for this. She didn't warn me that was happening, and like I sat up in my seat and like moved up, and the jump scare happened at that very moment, and I just flung back into my seat, and she just like sat there like like that.
Oh my
Always
god.
remember that. Always remember that. She did me so dirty.
Oh my gosh.
2017. No, I was gonna say 2017. It was so good. It was so good. Really, really weak second act. Compared to the first. In terms of like movies, like the what do they call it?
Oh, it chapter 2.
It chapter 2. Not what I was looking for. I don't know
See-
how they were making this good. What's up?
And you know what it is?
What's
It's
it?
children. We were experiencing the movie as like, oh my god, this is a child. It's happening to them. They're adults in the second movie, so it's kind of more like, oh,
Mm.
like I'm not
It's
as
not-
scared. There's not that fear of like,
Not
oh my god,
charming.
it's a child. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah, you make
No,
a good
but
point.
the best parts of it chapter 2 are when they flash back to being kids.
Yep.
That's a problem.
There it is. Yeah.
Also, in
Yeah.
it chapter 2, it just feels like Pennywise is just trying to roast everyone. Like the one kid, he's like, "Hi, you're fat," like he wasn't even trying to kill him. He was just doing fat jokes to this poor kid, and it's like, chill, like.
Yo, chill.
But I have one more thing to say before Nick. You have to tell your story, and then we'll end the episode on your very sad
no.
story. But
Oh,
Poor
yeah.
Nick.
I do want to say beforehand, in high school, there was this girl. Her name was Ashley. Which shout out you, Ashley, if you're watching this. One day, she decided to dress up as a clown and chase after me. Yeah, it was a very terrifying day for me.
Oh no.
Well, how old were you? Just when you were like
High
18 or
school.
something.
It wasn't. No, you
What?
know what? It probably was when I was. No, it was like 17, I think. Because my senior year, bro.
Okay.
It came out of
I don't mean to
nowhere.
laugh at that.
No, it is funny. It is funny.
Sorry.
But like,
No, that's just funny because you're like old. Sorry. That's funny. No, it's just funny because you're like senior
Oh
year.
my
like,
gosh.
I would not talk to her for like a few days after that. I was tight.
Yes.
you were
No,
that
that-
tight? Seriously,
was
so
tight.
you really
Yeah, no, I would be. Yeah, I would
Yeah,
be.
I wanted
That'd be
smoke.
me.
Like,
Whoa!
I
Go
had to
off.
see what them hands were talking about after that. But
Damn.
Go off!
Damn.
all right,
Holy
Nick.
moly.
Damn.
Time
Okay,
for
so I need
the
to
story.
classify some things first before I start the story. One, I'm not gonna say how old I was. Second, I think I'm gonna change the names because there's no chance that these people are watching this video. I don't think, but just in case.
Oh, I thought you were gonna change your name.
Yeah, my name.
Yeah, I was just about to,
No.
so much I was about to say your name.
No. So let's use the name Jess. I went on a date, with, and it was a group date with, someone, whatever, a girl who I was dating, I guess. It was just dating. It was nothing, just whatever. And we went to the movie The Haunting in Connecticut. A pretty bad,
beat.
horror. I mean,
Yeah.
creepy movie, but like it was more creepy than it was scary, and so it was like, and then it was like gross at times. It was like puke involved, and it's like, yeah, it was like, this wasn't great. I have to say also, part of me thinks this was on the way home from that, but I could have been wrong, and it could have been on the way home from something else. Nevertheless, the way this relationship ended was I was sitting in the back of a car with
Bill, stop
sitting
laughing.
next to her. I was sitting next to her. I was to the right of her,
Sorry.
and her friend, so our mutual friend, was to the left of her. And she texted something on her phone, passed the phone to me, and said, "I don't think we're gonna work out." And we were in the back of our parents' car, and that was the last time I ever spoke to her in my life.
Okay, like I know you're not gonna reveal your age, but like that happened at. But I really hope that it was like high school. Like I really hope that it was. We're not
I was
gonna
hoping it
work
was
out.
college.
Yeah, like my headcanon is that this happened like to you like at the beginning of college.
No. No, yeah,
Oh my god.
it wasn't college.
That's so sad. Like, could you imagine
It is
going
really
to see this horror movie? It was bad.
And it was a cheap horror movie, yeah.
They just in her parents' car. She can't even tell you. She just writes on your phone that I don't think we're gonna work with no punctuation or anything.
Wait,
The
so
I is
did
like
you write
isn't
back on your
capitalized.
phone?
I'm pretty sure I wrote.
Did you write-
I'm pretty sure I just
Yeah.
wrote, "Oh, okay."
Did you put a frowny face?
I don't know. I don't even remember. It was
But oh dot
it was
dot
the
dot
weird.
K
It was-
sad face.
Oh, dot dot dot. Okay, I mean, this is coming from my first breakup was in 5th grade after I got my first kiss. I was broken up with because I was scared
Just immediately after.
to kiss her.
So
And her
she kissed
friend.
you,
This
and she was like,
okay,
nah.
but wait a second. Wait a second. The same
Like, nah,
the
not for
same
me.
mutual friend. The mutual friend is
No.
the same in both stories. Yeah, she's
way.
like, for some reason, she's witnessed these relationships crumble.
She is the bad
Um,
omen.
Yeah, she really is. She called, but this
Apparently.
time, this mutual friend called me and said, "It's too bad she broke up with you, huh?" And I didn't know that. That was the first time either, and that was my first relationship
Oh no.
ending. Yeah. So I mean, whatever. Do what you will with that.
So I guess
Sorry.
you guys didn't know
Sorry,
that
sorry.
Nick was a big
Sorry.
fan of chick flicks like The Notebook and
I'm sorry, Nick.
Oh,
shouldn't
no.
laughing.
it was so funny because you were
It's
telling
so
the story and I
funny.
just see like Phil down there just like
Listen,
Oh,
comedy is just tragedy with time, my friend.
mhm.
but
Let me tell you.
you know if that didn't happen you wouldn't be in the great relationship that you're in now.
You want to give a shout out to someone, Nick?
To my current girlfriend, Jordan.
Oh, I was hoping it would be to the other girls. No.
Yeah, I was gonna say. I'm not aware of that one.
I'm going to be quite honest. I'm pretty sure if these relationships never happened, nothing would have changed.
Just more baggage in the old caboose.
Oh my god.
I'll say this too: that girl who I got, that first relationship, I am still friends with her to this day.
Really?
Oh yeah, I don't know.
No
I
more
good
kisses now?
no,
You ever joke
no,
about
no
it?
more kisses. No, but it comes up occasionally. Obviously, you can't just say that all the time.
Mhm.
She's she's yeah, her and I are friends. That's all.
You better be
Just-
careful. If you're in a roast session, she has some heat on you.
She does.
Yeah.
She does.
Ammunition.
Yeah,
She
so you
does.
better be careful the next time you guys get into an argument because that roast
Yes.
hand's gonna come out and it's
Oh
gonna be
yeah.
over for you.
Mhm. Yeah.
I can't believe that.
Oh,
I'm sorry that your trauma is so funny. Nick.
Don't worry about it. That was
I really wish it wasn't so funny. Oh God. Oh God, before I say something even more regrettable,
Yeah.
maybe
Oh my
we
God.
should end.
See, the best part about it was like Nick was like, "Yeah, we were watching The Haunting of Connecticut," and I just see Bill in the corner, just like,
I kept like I'm sorry.
Oh
I don't
my
know why it's so funny. I have some bad stories, but I'll save those for another
Yeah.
time.
do we
Oh,
have
God,
any
I have
final
one-
thoughts that we want to say about
Oh,
childhood
jeez.
horror movies, bad experiences that affected our horror tastes?
Bad experiences that just affected our lives, I guess. Sorry.
Sometimes Scooby Doo is much more worth it to watch than Haunting in Connecticut.
I never saw that one coming.
I think it's really interesting that in terms of like movies that I have in my favorite my top 5 favorite horror movies, 3 of them are from 2007.
Oh, that's interesting.
It is
Yeah.
interesting.
So
Sinister.
no, not
From 2000
Sinister isn't in the top 5. It's number 6, Sinister. Yeah.
Oh.
Oh, of course.
It just got beat out.
Also, I think Sinister is not 2007.
No, it's like 2012.
2012, right? Yeah,
And
that's what
the
I thought.
another one is 2008.
Wow, so that was really your formative,
Mm-hmm.
really your coming of age. in regards
It's
to
true.
horror
And
movies.
then
That's
one's from
awesome.
1977. So there's one outlier in
yeah.
there. But I mean,
Yeah.
Star Wars.
That's it.
the best horror movie.
That's it.
Yeah.
Good night.
That's it. That's how I think that's how we should end it.
Yeah, I'm good with ending it there. So you guys can't find out my top 5 favorite horror movie list, except you do know now that Star Wars is number 4.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Well,
What's it? So some would say that what's it? There's really nothing too scary. I find Ewoks scary. The concept of Ewoks. But they're not till episode 6. I'm gonna stop talking now.
All right, Nick, this is your chance. Make fun of him. Get him back.
you are. I might be scared of text conversations, but at least I'm not scared of small bears, small fluffy bears with sticks.
They kill people in that movie.
Yeah,
That's
those
They
are
kill
some hard
people with the
sticks.
little sticks.
They're so deadly. They're cute.
But
I don't know, I don't like it.
On that note, thank you everyone for watching. Thank you, Bill. Thank you, Nick. Always amazing talking to you guys. Thank you to Skippy. Like I said at the beginning, he streams. Watch his streams. They are amazing. He puts out amazing content. Watch it. Sam, thank you for the intro, for producing it. And of course, Nick, thank you for composing it. Great job with it. Love listening to it. And,
thank you.
You could check out Sam on Ruminant Music. His link will always be in the description. And if you ever need him to compose something, he does.
He's the man. Oh,
he
yeah.
is the man to do it.
Yes.
I think that's all the shout outs that we have. I don't think we're not sponsored by anyone yet. So
Yeah.
we don't exactly yet.
Just wait till we get Audacity to support. Audacity is like every podcast. We're not affiliated or endorsed by Audacity.
Oh my god! Wait, what's the one that everyone's endorsed by on YouTube? It's the Battle
Honey.
Royale one.
Oh, Battle Royale. Oh,
Raid Shadow Legends.
Raid.
That's when
Raid
I
Shadow
know that
Legends.
we've made it. When Raid Shadow Legends sponsors the podcast.
Or Dollar Shave Club.
Dollar Shave Club. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So thank you for sponsoring us. Raid Shadow Legends, Dollar Shave Club, Ridge Wallets,
Audible.
Oh,
Audible.
Right.
Audible. That's everywhere.
and
Yeah.
Cars for Kids.
Oh my gosh, I hope not.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I hope
they did
not.
say
That-
for them to sponsor us, we have to play their theme song at the end of the podcast. So
Oh,
Damn.
the worst part. Oh my goodness.
So thank you
All
everyone
right.
again for watching, and tune in next week. We have some fun topics planned out, and next week is going to be a Thanksgiving special podcast. So
Oh,
I will give you a
brother.
hint that there will be thanks and there will be killing. There is your hint. We won't be killing. I will. I mean, you don't know us, but
Yeah.
but all right. Thank you everyone for watching. Bye bye.
Yeah. Good night.
Bye. Have a good one.
Bye.
Oh my
Have a good one.
I wish I could describe to you how tired I am.